Okay. Although this is now making me, like, really, really double check. Oh, full-headedly determined to break this game. Just here boy, come here boy. No. You know it. She does run like she's like... She's like an angry child. If that makes any sense. So sort of like... stomping around the place. It's like... My daddy didn't get me a pony this year for Christmas, so I'm gonna march right over to his desk and tell him what for, you know. It's... Like big Hermione energy. Like... Philosopher's Stone era Hermione energy. Has subscribed. Thank you very much there for the resub for 32 months. Whoop whoop indeed. Norstick, thank you for the resub too. Oh frick indeed. I don't know if that worked. I don't know if it made it look like he jumped down my throat. Still gotta get the time. No nommies on the man meat. Wait. Wait. I like the sound. It had a nice bop to it.
And our days in Egypt, where certainly this child was conceived.
Sorry, what?
This new life we've created.
Begged for his life. He begged for yours.
You're wrong! Shut up! Just shut up!
Give me covering fire.
Oh, sure. I'll be happy to cover you in fire. How did that not kill him? Cool. Do I still have the chicken? The chicken... The chicken has been buried in the floor. Oh, what has happened to the chicken? I have no words. Other than just what? It's like it's stuck at its feet, like the game thinks that I'm still holding it. But I'm not holding it anymore. Let's pick up the chicken. Yeah, so if I sit down with the chicken. There it is.
Tried to make snowshoes out of tennis rackets and fell asleep with the cat. I was so damn happy.
I think I must have heard that story about a dozen times, and I could hear it a dozen more. I wish that could have lasted. I wish we'd had more time.
I'm good. I'm good.
Lara, you have to get to cover. We're about to fire, and you're out in the open.
This fits fucking perfectly. Holy shit. This music was made in the 90s, what the fuck? What do you reckon? He shoots? Welcome to the stream. The post Rise Retrospective release stream. Hello, everybody. I am on cloud fucking 9 with it finally being out and everyone just being so positively. Just like the feedback, honestly, from you guys from it has just been amazing. I can't believe that, like, I was so worried about how this was going to get received and if people still cared after the amount of time I've made you guys wait for, but nah, goddamn, you came through, you've all come through clutch with this, and it's been amazing, so thank you so much. But welcome, more importantly, welcome, everybody. Who have we got in the chat? We have got Josie39, we've got Preddy, we have got Daniel M, Mo, Jim Henson, like Jim Henson, 10 Win, hello, Scotty Lodenson, Blue Butt, Downby Danny, Bobby O'Nev, Lino Cyborg, Jammo Boy, oh Jammo Boy, the pipes are calling, Jacob Armour, Moon Spirit, Apollo, Fuchsia Rosa, 10 Win, Crypto Kev. I'll read all of your lovely messages out in a second. Thank you, everybody. Vanilla GT. The music sounds so wonky, does it? Mo. Kazia August. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Reedroo. Hello. Apple Milk. The Raj Retrospective, fantastic. Omelette a la fromage. Hello. And what did we just miss? So, Blue Butt says, hello everyone, hope you're loving the Rise Retrospective as much as me. Thank you very much for the 3 months on sub. Scotty Lodenson, happy 35 months. Congratulations on the amazing retrospective. Thank you very much. One question. Was that Gex in the stasis tank? Yes, and I will talk about certain parts of my video in a bit, but yes, that was a nice little Easter egg caught there, Mr. Lodenson. I almost put Raziel in one of the tanks, but I didn't in the end. Alchemic Siege, thank you very much for the 53rd month on Prime. 53, congratulations on the new retrospective, well worth the wait, thank you. Jacob Harmer, thank you for the Prime. Kazia, thank you very much for the Prime. 200 bits from Blue Butt, thank you. Love the video, thank you. And Apple Milk, thank you for the new sub. I really appreciate that, thank you so much. So, who else have we got here that we can say hello to? The Average Critic, hello. Huge fan, bro, and inspiration for me as a British YouTuber. Fantastic. I'm always happy to be an inspiration on how you can do so much better in your life. But welcome, my dude. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. Cozy Croft, hello. You nearly choked on your hot chocolate a few times. A few times? Just a few. I have to try harder next time. Dead Man, hello. Sorry if I sounded a bit rude last time. Your content always makes you feel happier. No, honestly, whatever it was, it's been forgotten about. I'm sure it was absolutely nothing. You're all good. Jim Ensign, gonna have to stream in the background whilst I lurk and tend to my Pokemon on Pokopia. But just dropping by to say, huge congrats on the retrospective. Bloody brilliant stuff. So, yes, Cosmic Mango, love the name, by the way. Hello from Spain, love the new vid, thank you. I suppose I should bring this out. It's not 100% done, but it pretty much is, about 95% finished. There it is. Finally got it all painted, although if I turn this side around, there are a couple bits here and there I'm going to actually respray, but this is done. This is basically done now. The detailing on the handle especially is amazing, but this was my kind of gift to myself. And the barrel flops up too as well, and it spins. But this was kind of like a gift to myself. Where I work, because I have the honor of working at a prestigious university. Oh, cake as well, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Sarah, everybody.
Hi.
We have a 3D printing lab. So I approached them and was basically like, if I give you the files, how much would it be to get this printed? And he was just like, you work in IT, you know, you do us so many favors. It's about time that we do some for you. And he basically printed this all out for nothing, which I was amazed at. So the only thing I had to do was just like assemble the thing. Hello, cat. paint the part, like sand down the parts. He did the priming, he helped me with that. And then I painted it with some spray paint that I've got in here, which no doubt some of you saw me frantically doing on the last stream. And then I did all the detailing with some brushes and stuff. It's my first time ever doing anything like that, which was amazing. Oh my god, is that actually who I think it is? Bugsy Folk? Oh shit! Internet YouTube celebrity commenter himself is here in the chat. Hello there, Bugsy. I almost said Bubsy then. But welcome. Welcome to you. I hope you did good. Well, good sir. Zero Connection, hello as well. Anthony Pearson, what are you doing, cat? What are you doing? Oh, thank you for the 300 bits there, Apollo. I was going to ask, how are you feeling post-release? But you've already said. Also, time flew during the retrospective. It's going to be my new comfort film. That's really nice, thank you. Yeah, this cake that Sarah's handed to me was my brother-in-law's birthday yesterday. Oh no. The cat's disappeared behind the screen. So hopefully he'll behave himself. Stay there, cat. So I got his cake. We technically paid for it, so he said, like, I don't want any more cake. Fine. We will take your cake, and we will eat your cake. Good sir. But yes, I'm honestly really amazed at everyone's like massive, huge, overwhelming positive feedback to the video. Because I was incredibly worried. Have I watched the anime on Netflix, Bugsy asks. Yes, I've watched both seasons. I thought it was okay. The second season's better than the first. And I think it's like the vibe of it overall was definitely a step in the right direction for the series. So it'd be interesting to see how they continue that momentum going forward. But no, what about you? Did you enjoy it? For those of you who don't know who the name Bugsy Foga might be, if you've ever watched a person on YouTube like review stuff or has covered anything to do with like a game that you like or a film perhaps as well, like he's always in the comments. He's like a person you always notice commenting on stuff. So much so that he's actually had a couple shout outs on a few videos I've seen. Like there was a Cadicarus video that I believe he got a shout out. Like a full-on shout-out in one of the videos. I forget which video it was, but that must have been really cool for him. Okay, the cat is sitting down behind the monsters. You have a 3D printing lab. Yeah, it's for our students. It's for our students to use. We have a whole suite of different printers. And the printers they use, especially for the handle, I've seen other models of like people's printouts and stuff, but the handle, that was the most important part to get right. And the printer you want for that, 3D printer wise is apparently the resin printer rather than the filament ones, because the filament's the ones that always print stuff off and it makes it look all streaky. Whereas if you want stuff with detailing and lots of fine detail to be printed out right, get someone that's got a resin printer and use that. We had to state several times it wasn't a gun, and that's why I did all the assembly and painting at home, because I took it all in bags when he was done with it. Hello, game she plays. You doing all right? Fantastic, Foga. Love Tom and Jerry, money guy at the video beginning. So yeah, I was incredibly anxious about how this was going to go down. I was on tenterhooks with anticipation and also a slight bit of fear and worry, because there's always that worry that you've missed something or missed a mistake or forgotten to do something in an edit. By the way, there is a mistake which I've missed. A couple, actually, which I've missed on rewatches. But I'm sure no one's noticed. Oh, thanks there, Sarah. 25 bits? You forgot I forgot you had some bits left over. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Sarah's playing through Pokopia at the moment, so field all of your Pokopia questions to Sarah. She'll happily answer them. Cozy Croft. But yeah, no, I'm really, really pleased, and I've been going through and like reading through all of the comments that people have been leaving, and I do read all of them. And I'm just blown away completely by how positive of a reception people have had to it, and that they thought it was worth the wait, that it wasn't too long, and they... Like, I always try, when I'm making this stuff, to not make it feel like it's going to drag. It's a very important thing to get right, especially with a long video like this, is to get the pacing of everything right, excuse me. So I'm glad that people seem to have enjoyed that, and not thought that it was like, there were any dips in the action, so to speak. Emily Saxon, welcome. Hope you're doing well, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed the retrospective. Thank you. The Kemon Volney. Sorry if I got that completely wrong. Random question, but did you come up with the jokes on the spot whilst making, while trying to imagine what to say during the retrospectives, or are they scripted? Your humor is brilliant. Thank you. This is a good question. Some of it, yes. A lot of it, no. When I was first starting out doing anything on YouTube, making content in general, trying to throw stuff at the wall and see what stuck, a lot of my stuff I thought I could get away with just improvising, and it shows. It's not the best. It's not structured. It's just thrown together with whatever was in my brain at the time, and I used to get so frustrated making content because, although it was fun, coming up with stuff off the cuff I could do, but it wouldn't flow necessarily together, and I'd have to think of the right thing at that time to then record and then to add. So it was a bit discombobulated. Love that word, by the way. So I ended up, when I was doing reviews, actual breaking down reviews and talking about it properly to script my stuff, and I found it helped me out so much better, because then I could actually have a structure to work around, and if there was anything that I had in the edit that I came up with, I could just got my microphone and all my setup here, so I could essentially just sit in front of this and then open up Adobe Audition, record a new take, slip it into the edit, so to speak, and record it. Like, thank you very much there for the follow, Wolverine. 466. But the actual just move this a bit closer. Sorry, just so I can see you guys a bit better. But the actual the filming side of things, that's all definitely scripted. 100% scripted. And that's the stuff that can sometimes take time as well. I am very much the type of person to try and get stuff done in like a solid take, rather than having to chop and change different takes together to make it seem like more cohesive, if that makes sense. You see it with channels like all the time, where they sort of like, they start off as a wide shot and then they cut in close, maybe with the same take, but often it's to do with a better take or to cut out the fluff in between. And I've always admired people that have the ability to basically just kind of just talk to the camera, talk about it, get what they want to say out in one go without having to sort of like chop up takes and stuff. And it's a blessing and a curse. It kind of makes me wish to a degree I had a teleprompter for some of them, because the last line that I do in the video, where I've got all the Richard Croft faces on me and I'm talking to the camera, it took me so many goddamn takes to get that wrong, to get that all right, because I'd get to a certain point and then I'd fluff up a word, and then I'd have to start the whole thing all over again just to get it all flowing well. But it's tough. But the actual Richard Croft faces, that was something that I didn't actually come up with until I started, like, to near enough when I started filming for this video. It wasn't actually anything that I was scripted at all. I kind of just had a random moment of inspiration where, wouldn't it be funny to have like a real, like, ongoing running gag where I would print off 100 pages of this guy's face, cut them out, and then gradually place them across the background and get them multiplying more and more and more as the video got more, got longer and longer. I had 100 pages of this guy. I've still got a fair few left that I didn't actually end up using, which is just crazy. So that was something. And to all my channel members, by the way, there will be clips coming out to do in the coming days and weeks, where I will chop up some outtakes and some alternate cuts and then send them your way so you can check it out. And there will also be the moment that Sarah walked in and realized what this room had been transformed into with all the faces. So that'll be an interesting thing to see. Must be a great 3D printer if it turned out that good. Yeah, no, it's proper good. Hello there, Green Mullet. Hello. Steve. Steve. And Assault King, hello. Anyone else tired of seeing people bash Sophie Turner before seeing her in the role? I'm the same with any kind of thing being bashed before seeing it in person. I've gotten to a point now where I'm just kind of like done with that discourse. I'm the type of person that's very much just of the mindset of, until we see a trailer or of it in action, I'm not going to fully judge it. I'm going to reserve judgment until I actually see it for myself. I'm just glad you gave it a proper objective review. I love the entire series, including Survivor. It's objective to a point. It's like, I'd say it's more neutral than anything. I try to be as neutral as I can with everything that I do. There are obviously opinions that I do slide in there, because otherwise there'll be like literally no personality to my content whatsoever. But yeah, no, I try and just be as fair as I possibly can. I'm not there to basically like stir up drama or to say hot takes. Do you know what I mean? And just like without any basis in any kind of like reality. I like to have stuff that I can back up. And basically just like all the facts and all the things that all observations that I make, I like to back up with like visual evidence, and like, that's why I show photos of the articles that I take quotes from or I might be reading off of. Because I think it's important to show your work. Isn't that what they always say at school? Which I was terrible at, by the way. But that's by the by. Tonight, Sarah's at her desk. You finished the story and decorating side things. Decorating side of things is too overwhelming at the moment. That's fair. To be honest, Steve, how long did it take to cut out those Richards heads? Do you still have them? Well, yes, I've already answered that. Sorry if I'm catching up with stuff that's a little bit out of date. Premiere was a lot of fun. I love the premiere. I love doing the premieres because I get to sit down and like watch people react to my stuff that I've been working on in real time. I absolutely love that stuff. Absolutely loved. Hello, Nadine. I was also seated for the entirety of the video. Didn't even notice it was 2 hours. Nice. Not a question, but a comment. Even though the retrospective was about 2 hours long, it was still concise, in my opinion, covering everything that might be of interest to anyone who hasn't or has played Rise. And that was another thing. There was so much content to talk about with this game. It was like, oh, what the fuck do I talk about? Like, I needed to decide what was important to show and what wasn't. And it really came to a point where I was just having to kind of just be ruthless with a certain bunch of things. Like, there was one thing I wanted to bring up and I didn't in the end. I didn't have time to just properly talk about it. A friend of mine, you may have seen her in the chat, Tyranita. Basically, she let me know of a couple of facts to do with actual Kitesh and how it's portrayed in Rise. And if I remember this right, Kitesh isn't where it is in real world mythology. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat, by the way, Deadman. I'll read yours in a second. It's actually in a completely different place in Rise of the Tomb Raider compared to like where it actually is in our real world mythology. So, and history. So yeah, that's interesting. But also there was a side quest that I almost like did put in to talk about, which I thought was interesting. There was a side quest called Difference of Opinion, and it's to do with Lara going around and essentially burning down Russian propaganda of the astronaut Yuri Gagarin, who famously burnt up in orbit, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, there was that. That was an interesting. That was an interesting move from Crystal, and I think I've heard people also say that all the air quotes good Russians are portrayed by actors with American accents, and all the other bad guys are all portrayed with like regional appropriate accents to their voice. But yeah, no, there was just stuff there I could have elaborated on more. But the fact that it had like several bits of DLC and side contents to talk about, I really needed to kind of pick up the pace and make sure this was brisk. So I'm glad that people found the pacing of it good. Let me just see. I like how you just have them to hand now. I'm wondering what to do with them. I might send them to people in some way. Maybe bring them to a derby or something. Could be quite fun. The Richard Crofts were hilarious, thank you. I'm really pleased with how that whole thing turned out. The fact that I kind of built them up in the background, started putting them on the walls, and then started wearing them like a suit as well. Let me just read some. I'm just catching up with stuff. Yeah, no, you're not the only person, Mark, to say that you wish that I'd worn it like a mask. The main reason for that is I needed to be able to read my script, which is on this screen here. So, or sometimes on this particular screen here. So if I had a mask of his face, which I was planning to do at one point, I wouldn't have been able to have done that. And the plan was to have that as the last shot, that I was wearing an entire suit that was made of his face, so much so that it's taken over my own face. But then I realized I had all these lines of like dialogue to read to the camera in one go without whilst maintaining eye contact with the lens, etc., etc. I knew I was going to struggle anyway, and goddamn, yeah, that would have made it 100 times worse if I'd done that. Do you have any idea what I will do after the last game? Cover the spin-offs and the movies. Like, I'd like to do that at some point, because I know people would like to see me do that. But also, I'd like to start another retrospective series on something that I'm passionate about, which will be not as long. Just, like, working on stuff that I've always wanted to work on. Which I will let people know nearer the time when I've fully decided on something that I'm going to do. I know a lot of people have said that Resident Evil will be a good one for me to cover. So, who knows? Who knows? Don't really have any questions of sorts. Just more wanted to thank you for your work. Finding your retrospective has literally resulted in me making a ton of friends and finding a community I love. So, thank you. Thanks, man. That's really cool of you to say. I really appreciate stuff like that. Because I still can't believe it. I still can't believe that my dumb videos that I thought would be a great thing to do to entertain Tomb Raider fans and myself ended up like bringing people from all walks of life together. Like, we've been to America to sort of like participate in someone's like Uncharted's wedding. We've become quite good friends with them. We've met you guys at Derby. And I've spoken to people across the globe because of this. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. So I really appreciate every single one who takes the time to be here and to obviously be watching stuff online. Let me Croft scare my wife. Do you know how much stamps cost? Oh no, it's ridiculous. In this economy. There's so much in Rise. The pacing you did was perfect. I couldn't believe how quick it went. I'd take a Richard. That sounds like a euphemism almost. Send the Richard Croft heads to Crystal Dynamics. Brilliant. I'll make that my stream, my Zoom call background or something. Honestly, I'm really intrigued to see you tackle the difficulty setting in Shadow. I remember in a previous retrospective you commented on how great they were. I think they're absurdly good. Yeah, no, I think when I come to talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I will be making the conscious decision to turn all of the hints off and evaluating the experience as is without any of the kind of modern concessions. Because I want to try and evaluate, because loads of people say that Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the closest that this particular game, like this particular era of the series comes to matching what the classic games did. So I want to kind of put that to the test a little bit too. Sorry. I'll buy you a pint for a signed Richard Croft at Derby. Was waiting for it to end on my face. Hey up. Wearing a mask equals tunnel vision. Linus, Richard faces gag totally made me think you're going to turn into Richard at one point. The gag reminds me of one made in Civvy 11's Quake 4 video where Civvy turns into Steve Blum as half the people in the game are voiced by him. That's quite funny. It's actually kind of also a nod to a visual running gag that
I can't get over the gimp masks. I'm sorry. I should be able to.
That the Spoony one made in his video covering, I think it's the first animated Tekken movie, where he takes the piss out of Heihachi Mishima's like massive eyebrows by having like paper eyebrows on his face that get bigger and bigger and bigger the more times it cuts back to him on camera. So I guess you could say I was inspired by that in some way too. Serious Sam, I'm calling it. I would love to do a Serious Sam series, honestly. But yes, I will let you know. Lou Wolverine, love the Retrospective, Rise is my favorite. The Survivor era. My question is, during your playtime, what was your favorite weapon to use? Mine is the revolver with the silencers. So, you may have seen in my gameplay that I did actually use, like, I think it's called, what's it, Venom? Venom something? But it's that, like, hand cannon revolver with a silencer, and it is unbelievably good with that. I also liked the gold rifle that you got, but the fart arrows were really good fun as well. The poisonous gas arrows, they were quite fun. I didn't mind the bow. It was a really good stealth weapon, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of those weapons that I ended up using when I ran out of bullets. You know, something to fall back on quite easily. Do you plan to do your first Shadow playthrough on stream, or will you do it privately? This is something I've yet to decide. I've yet to decide because I did do a form of streaming for my first my footage playthrough of Rise of the Tomb Raider, but that was through Discord for my subscribers. But I think there might be some merit in me doing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, my first playthrough, live. What do you think? I don't know. I definitely would be able to get through it a lot quicker and in my own time if I didn't do it on streams. I would have to basically, if I did that, I would dedicate both nights a week to playing through it. Father of the Tomb Raider. Funny story about postage. I got a card from Royal Mail saying I must pay £5 for insufficient postage. I didn't offer anything. Wife didn't order anything. Wife didn't order anything. Asked around. No one said anything. Took a punt and paid it. February arrives. It's a fucking Christmas card with no stamp. Wow. Okay. Who the hell from? Anyone you knew? Or just a random stalker? Sorry, 2 seconds. Random guy. When I go on extended business trips, I watch stuff like Team 4-Star, Game Statistic. Oh, shoutouts to Game Statistic. Holy hell. Sorry. I got a bit of chocolate stuck in my tooth. Shoutouts to that guy. He was the guy that he did it first. Honestly, thought you had more subscribers because I think your content deserves it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think Game Statistics video on Shadow of the Tomb Raider is 3 hours. Which is utterly insane. Sorry. I need to get this out. Sorry, chat. If I didn't do that now, it would just be there until the end of time, and that wouldn't be nice. Oh, thank you very much for the £10 super chat there. Thank you. Del Frickin' Tree. I hope I got that name right. Steve, there's still a Richard Croft face under your pillow. Oh, God, shit. I need to get the tear gas. Actually, no. I have this. Richard Croft ain't going nowhere when I got this. Right. There's a name I haven't heard every 3 months. Yeah, Spoony. The Spoony one. One of my main influences. Crack. It's a shame what happened to him in his mental health. Serious Sam. Can you silence a revolver? Well, yeah, maybe in real life. I think there might be. But in games, you see it all the time. If you want a good channel to follow to sort of like judge real-world weaponry against video game weaponry, I highly recommend the Experts React series with Jonathan Ferguson from the Royal Armouries, because he's done all kinds of games. I don't think he's done Tomb Raider yet, but he did Requiem, and he talked about like the real-life weapon that this is actually based off. It's a Russian assault revolver, a 50 caliber one. It's mad, but no, very good stuff, very entertaining things. Highly recommend. Road voice just yelling, Jonah! Poison arrows are so OP in Rise. I heard that, and also the mind control Baba Yaga arrows are also quite OP too, but I never use them. I never bothered. I understand you play through the game to be Jin, but would you have to replay the game to remind yourself of particular points during the video's production? Well, that's a good question there, Finn. So, I try my best to make notes whilst I'm playing through. If I'm sort of going through a particular part of a game, I'd often get a pen and paper. And whilst I'm recording, I record them in chunks, like sections or levels. And then I mark them. It's really important to mark the file names. And then I sort of think to myself when I started, I sort of make a note of what happened. If I remember the particular time I've been playing, I put a rough time on there, and sometimes I end up just scrubbing through footage and vaguely reminding myself of what I did. Sometimes I have to replay, but sometimes when I've been actually editing, I had to replay footage, replay the game to get footage of stuff that I'd forgotten to get. Hence why you saw me pull a footage from another channel when talking about the Dream Slinger arrows. Not Stinger. Did you intentionally use Undertale music with the weird faces scene? Yes. I'm very particular with my music choices. Which is why I was annoyed when I ended up having to re-edit the original upload of the video to change the music for the scene where I have like Jonah being like wheeled away on a stretcher, or carried away I should say, because that was originally the whole the entry of the Gladiators music. A piece made many years ago, and I believe is public domain, but for some reason YouTube copyright struck me for it, and then meant that I couldn't monetize the video or do anything with it with ads. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to change it for something from Banjo-Kazooie and then slap it in there. It'll be the same vibe. Job done. Because for some reason when making videos on YouTube, video game music for the most part exists in this really weird bloody like nebulous copyright limbo. Like you can use and abuse video game music for the most part. As long as it's not by a particular artist. Like for example, you can't do soundtracks from the Tony Hawk series, because they're actual tracks. And they won't generally care, and they're always great choices for background tracks and stuff. That's why you see it and hear it all the time on YouTube. I'd love to see you play through Shadow, but I appreciate it takes way longer. What I might do is I might play through the main story of Shadow live. I might do, but all the side content and stuff, if I feel like I can play like a little bit in between to get some footage of like an optional tomb or something, I might just do that, and then you pick up from the moment where I've left off, basically. I don't know. I'll decide and then I'll confirm nearer the time when I'm actually thinking of doing it. Yes, that is the Requiem, Green Mullet. Batman 1939, thanks for all the hard work you put into the content. Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for your continued service. Keeping the streets of Gotham safe. Hey, you know who Jonathan Ferguson is. Nice. He was on a Philomena Kunk episode. Kunk on Life, I think it was, and she was talking to him, which that kind of sent me through a loop. It's like, I know you from YouTube. Oh, Ebac, I saw you earlier, Ebac. Sorry if I didn't say hi. Expert Reacts, yes, fantastic series. I love how GameSpot cancelled the series and they just stuck out on their own. Yeah, I know. Yeah, good on them. Sarah Mara Jade, hello. Enjoyed the video very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Jellyfish cake. Really enjoyed the retrospective. Always a joy watching them. Thank you. Every time you shouted Jonah the retrospective, I automatically always thought of Bianca shouting Ricky in EastEnders. Ricky! I'm not an EastEnders watcher, but I know of that. I know of that. Yeah, so what I might do is I might take you through some of the process of me animating the stuff in the intro, just to show you a little peek behind the curtain. I'll do that in a minute. We'll fill some questions still at the same time, but I figured rather than looking at my ugly face for any more minutes than prolonged necessary, we can sort of give you something to kind of like gawk at and have a look. You got a strike on Twitch for playing Silent Hill 1. Apparently I used the song La Bamba in the credits. You can contest that and you can actually get that taken down if you really did care about that. Because I had to do that with Tomb Raider Legend. Someone decided to copyright strike a video that I used in the credits, and I was able to prove to them that it was actually from the game that I was talking about, and then they rescinded it and everything was absolutely fine. Citron Booter, hello. Just wanted to drop in and say I really enjoyed the video. I thought your call out on how much this game turned out to be about Richard was excellent. Thank you. The Timu Aloy jokes had me howling. Oh yeah. I was just continually trying to come up with stupid names to call her because all I could think of when I was looking at Sophia was it just looks like a discount version of Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, even though like she came first technically. Like she was released first, her character came out before Aloy's, but it was just funny. I think I called her Magnesium at one point as well. I don't know how many people picked up on that. How many people demanding the Shadow retrospective will it take before you go postal and murder a town? I mean, it's already started, so if I don't develop a thick skin now, I think the town where I live is fucked. The rebooted version of Macho Broccoli. Oh, thank you very much there, stuff. Thank you. Right, so what we're going to do, I think... We'll just pause the music for a second. I'm going to take you over into where I put stuff together for the intro, just to kind of give you an idea as to what went into making... Because that was the very last thing that I made for this particular video. I don't know how many people actually kind of like dig the stuff that I do with that, but... It's kind of like a way for me to learn new tricks and to sort of like keep my skills sharp. But I figured like if I show you sort of like a bit about what I did, it'll kind of help you understand the process a bit more. So let's go to the wonderful world of Gary's mod. So here it is. Here's Gary's mod. I have an absolute metric ton of tools and mods and attachments and stuff to do with this. This is essentially what I have been using for the last few videos where I've wanted something to bookend and start the videos off to keep everything going. It's a very fun tool to use. It's something you can very easily get lost in and overwhelmed with, but it's something that once you kind of get settled, it's actually really fun to use and really not that bad. Hello, bot. Cedric Botello. Congrats on another amazing video. It makes me want to re-binge all of them back to back. Thank you. I really hope it all flows well when people watch all these things, because a lot of people do say that they do watch these things back to back. So I hope everything kind of like is very cohesive when it kind of all is watched in binge form. Question, not sure how to should ask this question now or after you play Shadow, but do you think the Legend trilogy was more or less balanced than Survivor when it comes to the family/paternal drama? Oh, 100%. The difference is that with Rise of the Survivor era, there's more opportunities to tell a more dramatic story. I think the balancing to do with her parental drama or story is handled a bit better because it's minimal, because I think it's due to the restrictions of the time and what the tone of the series was. They couldn't do a fully cinematic story. It wasn't really kind of like to the extent that they were getting people like Rhianna Pratchett in to write and create something compelling and super dramatic and Hollywood quality. But I think it works better in a way because it kind of knows a bit. In some ways it does, in others it doesn't. I think the reboot era stories that I've experienced so far have more of a kind of dramatic, like emotional core to them than I'd say that the Lau era does. The Lau era story is very much a popcorn flick. And it does have some emotional moments that have resonated with certain people, but not to the extent of this. Like, it's nowhere near as dramatic and as melodramatic, especially as the reboot eras. So they do different things very well, I'd say. But in terms of how invasive the parental side is, I think it was handled a lot better in the Lau era than it was in the Survivor era. Right, so I'm going to load one of my saves. So you may have also noticed, like, I've got a whole bunch of saves here at various different points of production. And what these allow me to do, if I just, for example, load up this one here. When I construct a scene in Gary's mod, I essentially can spawn character models that I have access to. A lot of this content is like user driven, so you're all kind of reliant on other people porting these like models from other games, rigging them and allowing them to be like posable and animatable, and then putting them into this game engine, because this is essentially just like a Half-Life game, this source engine. But it allows you to do some really, really fun things, and I'll show you what I did for a couple of scenes in here just to kind of get you into the mindset of the production of what I did for the beginning here. Has anyone asked how many heads were made from those Richard Croft faces? I printed off 100 pages and I've still got some left over. Oh, yeah, no, everything's just loading. So this is the test tube room. I found a map called Sci-Fi, and if I just go into no-clip mode. So with Gary's mod, you can walk around as either a normal player, or you can press a button, you can go into like a free cam, floaty, flying mode. And what this allows you to essentially do is to put yourself into any place that you want to. So if you wanted to, for example, put a camera to be like a fake security camera, like by this door, for example, which you may have seen me do in a particular shot, you can put yourself up here in no-clip mode, and then you can hold down like the right mouse button in this case, and then move your mouse up or down to change the field of view to be as like super narrow or super wide as possible. So I essentially just lined up a shot here. And then what I actually did for this is open up my tools. This I will explain a bit more detail in a second. And we've got camera tools and all kinds of things down this little menu here. And then I just go to advanced camera. I've got a gun that appears. I point and shoot, and then I've got the home button on my keyboard assigned to this particular camera. So that means that I've got a camera that's static, and then I can just move my particular character around to my heart's content. Oh shit, I don't know what that did. I've gone into prone mode. There we go. That's weird. You can see her teeth. So that also means that if I go back into no-clip mode, if I hold down the C key and then right-click on this, you can go into this particular camera's properties. And then once that menu is up, if I just stand behind the door here, I can go back to the camera mode, and then I can go into that menu and then just do things like this to adjust the field of view, to bring it in closer, to make it rotate to whatever angle I want it to be. So for that particular shot where I had her walking through the door, for example, I, at the moment, am... I am the same Lara model as a player model. All I need to do is just go to weapons and give myself the empty hands. So I'm not holding anything at all. And then this is the button for the door. I hit use. And then I walk through the door like this. So it took me a while to basically just get that properly synced up. I would basically have to go into the camera and then hit the button and then quickly like sidestep out onto the right part and then walk forward. And then that will be that particular shot. Ah, the Vivi mug's been shipped. Finally, that's been taking forever to get to here. So yeah, some people might have recognized this particular lab from the retrospective. This particular scene here, if I just zoom my camera in here. So how I did this, if I just do it on one of the empty pods. If I spawn a ragdoll, so if I go into this spawn list, so holding Q on the keyboard gives you access to everything to do with Gary's mod, basically. All of your props, all of your ragdolls, all of your NPCs, whatever you want. So what I ended up doing is in the search menu up here, I just type in the word Lara, hit enter, and then I've got all of these models which have been acquired through the workshop here for me to be able to play with. These ones with the little colors next to them, like the green ones and the red ones, you might be able to see that on the screen. Those are NPCs, so the green ones are friendly, the red ones are hostile. So if I just let's spawn a doppelganger. Oh, hang on, something just weird just happened there. It's okay. There we go. So now I have a doppelganger. At the moment, it's going to react to me walking around. You might even see it turn to look at me as well. But yeah, this is Doppelganger from Tomb Raider Underworld. And she kind of has her own idle animations, which is pretty cool. She's got the pistols on the side there, but if I wanted to do something like tell her to completely ignore me, there's a button at the very top called NPCs, and then ignore players. So that means then, hopefully this will work, I can just walk around her. Maybe if I respawn her, actually. Let's just undo that. Let's bring another one in. If I bring another one in, she should completely ignore me. Or maybe she doesn't. It doesn't always work, annoyingly. She does still sometimes pay attention to you. But then you can do things whilst you're in here, like you can change things to do with facial expressions. You can make... There's tools to make NPCs talk as well, like they're talking lines from Half-Life, and then you can use like dubbing over in editing to make it sound like something else is actually being said. But if we get rid of the NPC version, if we scroll all the way down here, there are all these icons here, and we can actually spawn a ragdoll version of her, which is essentially just a floppy, very super floppy, little ragdoll version, dead version of that particular character. There we go. So if I wanted to do something like put her in that there jar there, I would first of all make her stand up like that. She T-poses to assert her dominance over me, and then I can either use the fizz gun to move stuff, which is a bit of a pain, but we've got a tool called Ragdoll Mover, and Ragdoll Mover is incredibly useful, especially if you want to do any kind of animating to do with this particular software. So if we go back here, so if we go to Ragdoll Mover, now this might look a bit crazy at first, but essentially what Ragdoll Mover allows you to do is select a particular limb or a part of the ragdoll in question that you want to pose. This just allows you to move it like left, right, up and down. But if you want to rotate it, if you press the middle mouse key, you can do stuff like this. So you can basically move their shoulder joints into whatever pose you want them to in various different directions there. And it allows you to be really creative with whatever you want to do with these particular kind of models. You don't actually have to have like an NPC or something to work with. But we want to move her so she's over in the tank. So it's essentially just a case of just... Oh, that's just her. That's just her waist. Let's just move that back to normal. So if we press R to go to the main bone of her spine, we can then rotate her fully that way. And then middle mouse again, grab the red arrow, and then drag it a little bit, and then we can move her just like that. Up like that. And there we go. We've now put Doppelganger Lara into a stasis pod. And then it will just be a case of, okay, I want to get the right camera angle here. Some of it looks a bit strange, like you can sometimes, because of the water texture, see her, like her eyelashes are a little bit detached, depending on the angle you use, which is a bit odd, admittedly. But yeah, can you see it? It sort of floats sometimes ahead of the character model, which is a bit strange. But once you're in here, if you want to change her facial expressions, in the tools up here, you've got a tool called Face Poser. And then you should, I believe, if we just actually move her out. Let's move her out with the green. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's move her out with the green arrow. There we go. Flashlight. So if we wanted to move her face, we can use this face posing tool. And essentially we can just, oh, hello, target her face like this with the big old... It's kind of made her look a little bit drunk. But once you've got this activated, once you've shot your target with this particular tool, you can hold C to go into the properties. The camera properties are still open. But you can go in and you can go do different facial expressions. Some of them are a little bit broken. Some of the default ones, you can make her look like she's got no teeth. But it's not all, like, completely cursed. If we just set it back to default. So we got a scale here. So if we go to this particular one and we can adjust the scale to not be quite as intense, and we can do fine adjustments to it as well. So if we wanted to, we can just basically just go in, and then we can make her frown a bit more as well if we wanted to, or the left sneer bones, you can make her... It might not look as pronounced, but if I just buff that up a little bit, it might help a bit for you guys to see. And then you can move her jaw to make it look like she's talking. Like if I wanted to make her look like she's mouthing along to me, then that's something I could do as well. But it's all well and good being able to pose them, but how the hell did you animate, like, anything in this? And that's where the Easy Animation tool add-on comes into play. So if I actually, before I do the Easy Animation tool one, I might just load up a different save. I've got several in here. Is this one where I've got all of them placed into pods? Yeah, here we go. So this, you may have seen the scene where you see Lara kind of walking past all of these pods, and then she walks in front of that one there, and it's like, ah, big reveal, it's Underworld Lara from the end of the Underworld video. So what I did to do this is there's a tool called NPC Patrol, and basically you can do you can set patrol paths for NPCs by just shooting different points in the map. It auto links them together, and then when you shoot your NPC, it won't probably do it now. It will say, oh, I want you to either wait 20 seconds here and then move, wait 20 seconds here and move. You can specify the times and whatnot. And then you can basically just make them walk to wherever you want. Sorry. This is a QA or a freaking tutorial. No, sorry, I figured it'd be just like a cool little thing to show you guys off. Right, I will show you quickly the animation that I did, or what I did with this particular Lara here. So let me just load up that one on a different map. Is this Gary's mod? Yes, it is. Gary's mod. Appreciate the tutorial. No worries. If I am boring anybody, please let me know. Yeah, sorry for the music chimes that that cut in there sometimes because I've got a lot of stuff that loads. It does hang on that screen for a bit. So that was my camera that I have rigged up for the shop where she comes out of this map that's got a portal here. If I hold down the B button, so what you can do, this is like an animation timeline, and what you can essentially do with this is you can use like those posing tools, like with the face, with the arms, the legs, wrist, etc., etc., and you can make a pose, and then you can create another pose. Like you've got a timeline here, you can make a pose here, and then move this timeline, like this marker, over to another point, create a second pose, and this will automatically move the ragdoll in between one pose and another. And then the idea is to basically go in and fine-tune some of the movement to make it look more natural. So I've got this particular version of Lara here. And then yeah, so we go on to that. I believe you can actually save these animations to load up at any point. So if I go to Underworld Portal, Lara Jump, select that entity is there, and then hopefully this will work. Yeah, so I've got, this is my timeline I did for the animation where she falls out of the portal and onto the ground. So if I scrub back through, you can see her like slowly moving frame by frame. But this was all essentially me going up in no clip mode, and then using the ragdoll movement tool, which I showed earlier, to essentially, like, select, like, say, her head, and then rotate it, like bits at a time, and then I would go in, and then I would go to this timeline on a particular frame, hit record, it would record that particular movement there. And then I would move to another position that I wanted her to end up, and then create an end pose. And then it would just be a case of me just moving it frame by frame. You can also scrub through frames if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Without the timeline, you can snap them to hotkeys. So this is essentially stop motion animation. And the facial expressions also get recorded too. So if you wanted to do things like finger movement, finger posing, ragdoll posing with the wrists and like other parts of her like body. Oh, and also I fully welded the sword to her back as well. That was another tool you can do. We can weld props to ragdolls and stuff, like you make them hold guns and whatnot. And there we go. So the idea for this particular scene was to follow on immediately after what happens at the end of the Underworld video, where you have her looking at that portal, and you hear all the voices from like the other eras of Lara sort of seeping through, and she's like, oh, I suppose it'd be rude of me not to. This is kind of me basically sort of saying, hey, this is what immediately happens after this. And it's a bit more sinister, like the portal isn't necessarily a nice thing. They're kind of ending up in a place where they're kind of being mistreated. So you got, this is the camera angle here. Let's try and recreate it. So I had the camera, say, lined up here. I also added a depth of field effect to this as well. And then I just do that. And the depth of, you can see it's already blurred the background out, and you can adjust how far or how blurry you want it to be, which is amazing. So that's sort of like back of the walkway, a little bit further forward, just up to her waist. So her gun's just a little bit kicked out of focus. Hello, pause break. And then if I wanted to run through the animation, I can do it frame by frame. Yeah, see, like the arm there. For example, if I wanted to correct that particular movement there with the arm so it wasn't clipping through the floor, and I believe I did this in the final cut, I would put the frame about here, scrub to about here, and then in my tool set, I would go back to my ragdoll mover, and then I would go up to this model. Oh, shit, too soon. And then I would go to this particular shoulder part here, upper arm, and then I would say maybe move that to there. Maybe I can even do something to do with the hand as well. So we go to the wrist bone, and then you can just make that rotate as well, hopefully. Just like that. And then... And it's very important to save stuff as you go. So if I go to the timeline, see there's already a keyframe there. So whatever you do in this space, if you hit record, it will replace what you had done. But if we go back to the camera angle shot, if we go back down to here, and then zoom that in just ever so slightly, and we'll scrub through the footage again. Yeah, see, that's another thing you would have to create. I had to basically just tweak. But that's kind of the joy of doing it. You would basically just... You're going through and you're amending stuff to be, like, whatever you want it to be. But the fact that it's so easy to do, once you get your head around the kind of, like, the whole, oh no, this is kind of scary type of vibe. It's crazy that all this stuff was basically made for free for people to just download. And then I can select the lower arm and then do that as well. And then maybe I will rotate it a little bit too. Just like that. And then I will select the wrist, the hand bone, and then that will be just like that, and then I go on to that, and then go to record, and that's added an extra keyframe there. And just like that. Yeah, it's not 100% perfect. There's still like a couple keyframes where it's like not 100% perfect. But you can actually delete, see I just deleted that one keyframe where the hand used to be, and it's already put it in the right place. Oh, thank you for the super chat there. Amy Kyle. I'm in a Tomb Raider I'm a Tomb Raider motherfucker. And then it's just a case of hitting screen record, going, holding down the N key to play the animation in full. And there we go. It's not, I'm not an animator, bearing in mind, but considering like, this is allowed me to create something that's vaguely professional looking, like for YouTube at least. I'm like very pleased with how it turned out, all in all. There's actually shots that I end up not using as well. There was a particular shot of this gentleman here, which I didn't end up using. There's also like shots of her, I was going to have her watching TV, like the episode, the retrospective was going to be something that she was watching in her quarters, but I didn't end up using that in the end. Oh, thank you very much there, Simply Suli. Genuine thanks for the behind the scenes. These are very cool. I appreciate the effort that go into these bookends. Thank you. No, I'd like having a chance to be able to show this stuff off. I'm glad that people find it interesting. There we go. So this is also a bit where I can, I guess, talk about lighting too. So you notice there's this little orb that's floating around about here. That's a small little spotlight that's got a different color to it. That's highlighting Lara's face. And there was a particular shot where I think I had the camera like zoomed in quite close, and then she was going to sort of like look up the TV, and then it was going to cut to sort of behind her shoulder, and then the TV was going to show the Rise retrospective beginning. But I didn't end up using it in the end. I just thought everything flowed better the way I had it in the end. But no, sorry. Yes, a very good tool to use, very fun. We will get back to the Q&A. Well, you can still ask me questions anyway. How you doing, pause break? Let me just put some music back on. Back to the chat. I had to do the super chat on an alt account. No worries. You're all good. Now that they've reached Rise, do I have a favourite Tomb Raider game? I don't have one favourite Tomb Raider game. I've got favourites for, like, each era. Tomb Raider 1, it's a toss-up between Tomb Raider 1 and 3 for the core design era. And then it's I think it's Tomb Raider. I want to say Legend or Anniversary for the LoL era. And then for this, I don't know. I've not played Shadow yet, so I can't really say. But hey, Croft Rider. Which one? I know. I'm sort of like, I'm wimping out on that response. I don't really have one favorite because they're all so different in style. If I had a choice, though, you had a gun to my head and something, I'd definitely pick something from the old school era of Tomb Raider. That's for sure. But I'd say that story-wise, I'd say that 2013 is a bit better than Rise of the Tomb Raider in some aspects. But the gameplay is definitely better in Rise of the Tomb Raider compared to 2013. 2 seconds, chat. Just going to go for a wee. And then we'll continue. I'll put the music up a little bit more too. Hold on. Sorry about that, chat. Ooh. Hello, unknown adventurer. What have we covered? So we've covered a few questions. I talked a bit about the behind-the-scenes stuff that I did for my Gary's mod animating. Mostly just been chatting with you guys just about what your thoughts are, what you liked about the video. I haven't heard anyone say what they didn't like. That will be what I'd be interested to hear about. Come up with a few questions. I'm just gonna get some water. But yeah, no, literally, I think when I come back, I will talk about what my plans are for the future going forward with my video content. So just give me a second. What happened to all the chickens? They died, Sarah. They died. It's not until actually watching through that video again that I realized how chicken-centric my Rise of the Tomb Raider video ended up being. There's a lot of chicken talk, like the explosive chickens. No, Ven, that's not for you. The explosive chickens, the chicken mountain throne thing that we built as well. I think that stream's live. Ven, what are you doing? Got a cat that's slowly crawling out of from under the monitors. There we go. Shadow has a legitimately great villain, not just out of Tomb Raiders. Interesting. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to playing through Shadow. For sure. For sure. What did I not like about the video? Yeah, that's a more interesting question, I guess. I'd be curious to know. If I was to write my own Tomb Raider story, what would I write? Oh, that's a good one. What would I write? I would write a Tomb Raider story where she goes to Japan, like the proper parts, and not just an island that's off the coast of Japan, like an actual proper part of Japan where it delves into the Japanese side of history a bit better. Because I think like Tomb Raider 2013 touches upon it, but it doesn't really delve into the stuff that I would be personally like into seeing. How come I've not played Shadow yet? Because I've been working on these retrospectives, mate. I've been working on these retrospectives since Shadow of the Tomb Raider launched, and that's I've not played it because I didn't want something to distract me from what I was working on. So that's the kind of long and short of it. The most I've played for Shadow of the Tomb Raider is basically just a benchmark, but run the benchmark on my machine to see if my graphics drivers and stuff were good. Will the retrospective for Shadow be out before 2030? Yes. Yes, it will be. So that's a good springboard off into what I was going to talk about. I want to talk about going forward what you can expect from me and my channel in terms of content. So I have got a lot that I need to catch up on. I fully put Television episodes on hold until Rise of the Tomb Raider was out. So now that it's out, I can actually get those done, and there are a bunch that I've been saying that I was going to do videos on, which I can now do videos on. The streams are going to continue as well, but in terms of the Shadow of the Tomb Raider stuff, don't expect it in the near future, but it will be one of those things where I will be continually working on it behind the scenes throughout everything else that I'm doing. So I'm kind of hoping that with this being out, that I will be comfortable and confident to be able to kind of just make stuff without constant comments about where Shadow of the Tomb Raider is. And I'm not saying you guys are the ones doing it at all, and you're doing it out of malice, but it's like, hey, before my 40th, yeah, God, don't remind me. But it's just one of those things where like, it will happen, and it will be something that I've got more of a motivation to basically work on, to know what to do with Shadow of the Tomb Raider now. It'll be more of a kind of Brave New World experience because I haven't played it at all. I know what happens, but I haven't played it for myself and experienced it firsthand. Thank you for the follow there, Saint. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is still being used for testing Intel graphics cards. Well, most graphics cards. It was a bloody brilliant, beautiful looking game, for sure. Tomb Raider in Scotland. Yeah, I'd like to see a globe-trotting Tomb Raider again. That's across like all different continents of the world. That's what I would do. In terms of story, I don't know and or care. I don't know. I wouldn't be a good person to write a story for Tomb Raider at this particular moment in time. Tomb Raider does Chicken Run. What are you on about? What are you on about? Shadow when. Yeah, I know I'm inviting comments when I say that, but it's something that I respectfully say. Maybe make the joke once, maybe twice in the comment section of other videos, but not constantly. For my own sanity, please. You think Shadow... A lot of people say that Shadow is the strongest of the trilogy, which is why I'm excited to play it finally. I think Shadow is the strongest. Want Tomb Raider style, Tomb Raider 3 with the option to select whatever chapters. Yeah, no, that's what I kind of echo as well. Will you add the newly announced Tomb Raider games to the retrospective series, or will you make traditional reviews for them? Expect reviews along the same lines as the remasters, where I basically just do a traditional breakdown and review, nothing like the retrospective for those, because they're so new and exciting. I want basically to enjoy them myself, and not have to wait for everything to come out about it to then do a full retrospective on it. It will be so new that it will be current, and I don't think you can retrospectively talk about something that's still new, if that makes sense. So yes, it will be the standard review war report format that we have done for the other remasters. Equips classes, basically, yes. I feel spexier now. Yeah, my eyes are starting to scream at me, so it was just kind of a case of like, I need to put my glasses on now. I'm in old man mode. Shadow is in some ways the strongest, but in my opinion, it's a bit buggy, and there are a few aspects that were very annoying, so I'm not entirely sure it suits me. It's definitely attempting to be the most old style, though, and the DLC is exceptional. When do I get my Pokemon plushie for being so awesome? What Pokemon plushie? What now? What one? There's so many. Imagine Lara versus the Australian wildlife, like Steve-O, and fucking hell, mate. Fucking crocodiles here, mate. Kangaroos everywhere, shooting me in the face. Anything would be good. Retrospective reviews, live playthroughs, etc. And that's another thing as well. Like, I'm really hoping that once the retrospective series is over and done, that when I move on to covering other topics and other games in a similar sort of style, that people, you guys here, will stick around and check those out too. Because I know predominantly people know me and love me for my Tomb Raider content, but there are hundreds of other, like loads of other games that I would just love to talk about on their own terms, on their own merits. That I've just not had a chance to yet, and I would love to bring you on a journey with me back through those games to talk about some absolute, not necessarily hidden gems, some of them might be, but just like kind of like relive a little bit of what like I grew up with in some ways. Steve and Sarah podcast about the games we play. A podcast. Ah, I could be one of those people that have a podcast now. Ventipus. Please. Hey, Palkeys. Metal Gear Retrospective. That's another series. Like Metal Gear, Resident Evil, Serious Sam. They're all series I'd love to cover in a retrospective. I got into your stuff when you were streaming that Doom Mario mod. My God. Yes. Someone remembers Golden Souls 2. One of my favourite Doom mods of all time. One of my favourite Doom mods of all time. But seriously, really great work on Rise of Richard. Watched it twice now. Have you actually? That's really cool. What did you think? What did you think? Hello, Artificial. Shadow is definitely the best game as an OG Tomb Raider fan. It just has some pacing issues I wasn't a fan of. But that's likely my only criticism. Great game, though. I am excited. It's thing to say everyone will still be here, whether Tomb Raider, Silent Hill. Oh, Silent Hill will be amazing to cover, actually. Resident Evil, Serious Sam, etc. It's your format and style that I love. Iron Bread, for example, I barely knew much about that game, to be honest, interested in it, but you genuinely got me into feeling invested throughout my video. That's one of my favourite videos I've ever made, that Iron Bread video. It's such a stupid game. With such an interesting premise and a lot of hidden lore, and I love the fact that I was able to pull off some of the visual effects that I wrote for it, which I believe I've uploaded a video, behind the scenes video, for members to check out on my YouTube page. You got something stuck to you, cat? No, it's just a scab. He's been picking at himself. He's been scratching and making himself bleed, haven't you, Mr. Cat? Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver series would be cool. That would be interesting because I've never had a chance to play through them. So I think I had some very interesting takes on it, just based on that factoid alone. That would be my first time playthrough of those. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Stuck around for whether you came to next. I came for Tomb Raider, stuck around for me and Sarah. Oh, thank you. Would you call the podcast The Rest is War Games? But Gary Lineker might sue you. Not much into football, but I appreciate you making a reference. I think maybe just like This is War. Just something simple, maybe. Could be quite fun. I think Silent Hill and RE retrospectives could be interesting. An RE retrospective. I do like the Resident Evil games, and there is quite a few like classic Resident Evil games I've not actually played. So again, it'll be a good chance for me to actually revisit the series from its roots. The Adele bit got you, yeah. Just really enjoyed the narrative, easy to follow. Didn't feel like 2 hours. Thank you. That's high praise. That really is. The fact that people have been saying it didn't feel like 2 hours is great. It means I've done my job with my writing and my editing and my pacing. There's so many Silent Hill YouTubers now, it would be cool, but overdone. Yeah, that's the trouble. That is the trouble. I'd have to try and bring something a bit different to the table, which I feel like I would with my style. It's a bit like all the Silent Hill YouTubers, they don't necessarily do comedy like I would. So if I was to do sort of like Silent Hill as a retrospective, it would be done like a Tomb Raider retrospective with comedy, with analysis, all the hallmarks of the stuff that you guys apparently enjoy my stuff for. So yeah, I'm very much grateful. Tom B. Do you know what? I played the remaster recently. That's the first time I've ever beaten Tomba legitimately. This is the War Room podcast. Would Subnautica be a good to review? Never got into Subnautica, I'm afraid. Total War. Yeah, that's a good one. Podcast of War. This means war. That's why I suggested like a podcast format we could talk about long series such as Final Fantasy, Resi. We could put out more. Yeah, that could be an idea. A Valve retrospective. Dear God, have you got time? That would be extensive, and I would need to have someone with access to a VR headset. Would you live play / review some more hidden gems? Some hidden gems like East Shade, Paradise Killer, and Neon White. Maybe not necessarily exclusively indie stuff, but I would do things like I'd pull a game from my PlayStation 1 library, for example, my classic library of games. Like maybe not many people have known about or talk about much, and want to talk about that. For sure. Splinter Cell would be great. I would love to revisit that series. Sarah talking about Tekken could be interesting, especially if we ever talk about the movies and how much she hates them. Like the live action film. Bring the comedy to Silent Hill, exactly. I really like your critical narrative analysis in your retrospectives. Thank you. Would love to see the clash between the FF8 guy and his Final Fantasy 13 wife. To be fair, like, we're both... Like, Sarah's more into 13 than me, but she's also equally into Final Fantasy 8, for sure. Rayman series could be fun. We want the Steve Toby cam. My God. No one wants that. Not even Sarah wants that. 13 has some good ideas. It's just its execution where it's let down. Movie retrospectives. Yeah, I would love to. The thing is, I'd love to. Once Shadow is done, I think I would get to work on like doing a video on the spin-offs and the movies. Like I said I was going to. Like the Game Boy Color games, for example, could be a good one to cover in that particular one. Thank you for the 100 bits there, pause break. What about a review of Toby Gard's post-Tomb Raider pirate game Galleon for the original Xbox? I think maybe just like someone talking about Toby Gard's post-Tomb Raider career could be an interesting thing. Because, like, what has he done? Really? He kind of disappeared after core design for a bit. And then most people, like you say Galleon, they bring Galleon up. Which I did actually want to play when the GameCube launched. Again, never got round to playing that. And then afterwards he's done nothing, and then he's popped up with another indie game. And then that's it. This person that's always touted as the air quotes creator of Lara Croft, he's not really had the prolific career in the industry that you would think that he would have had. For the Rise video, your observations on the game's attempts to be more realistic and how that causes problems, convenient health items and placements, less gameplay depth. Yeah, that was an interesting sort of like aside, is the fact that like if you want a game to be, I'm all for a game trying to be more realistic in its design and for its themes to be more kind of mature and stuff. But I also expect it to work the other way as well. You can't fall back on too many gamey tropes, like having a convenient bit of item placement for a tutorial section, necessarily, like it does in Rise of the Tomb Raider. It just kind of stuck out like a sore thumb to me. Hula Zombie X, thank you very much for the 3 months on Prime. I love the name, by the way. A series going through Doom could be epic. That could be fun. Very different. War never changes. That would be like if I was making, me and Sarah were making like a Fallout themed podcast. That's what we would totally call it. I assume that maybe he was put off because of what happened after / during Tomb Raider 1, I'm guessing. Maybe. But that still didn't stop him reveling in the openly leaning into what was it? Katie Price, I think it was at the time. I think it was Andy. Oh, who was it? Who was it that was at Core Design that did the talk at Derby that told us this? It's not Higginson. It's Andy Sandon, I think his name is. And he told us about a story where he was with Toby Gard and they were doing a photo shoot with one of the Lara Croft models. And Toby Gard basically leant like right into the model's ear and just went, "I made you," and then just said nothing else. So, yeah, as much as like as history likes to paint Toby Gard as a pariah of like I don't know, would it be feminism? I don't know what you would call it, as this kind of like this moral compass of which Lara Croft's modesty has yet had to be measured against, so to speak. He didn't half say some weird stuff. So, yeah. A series that goes through past Steve of War videos in every stream, like Inception. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was your panel, I think, Daryl. That they said that. But still, love your content, man. Came for the Tomb Raider, now here for you, mate. Love them. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tobyism. I remember there was a game created by Toby back in 2021 called Dream Cycle. Was that the one where he showed off a trailer where he looked like fucking... He was on camera for an interview for it. And he looked like Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts. And he was, the soundtrack was by Nate McCree as well, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been that one. Sorry, the cat is using my desk as a pillow at the moment. World War Z with 2 R's. Again, if I was a World War Z podcaster, that would work better. But I appreciate the suggestion, for sure. But no, yeah, the plan going forward now with my content is to basically just work on, like, in between the bigger projects, just work on getting the smaller ones out, like the Televisions, the live streams, the highlights from the live streams and stuff that I can do in between all the research and the footage capture and all the stuff for the big videos. So yes, that's what you can expect from me going forward, for sure. If you want something that has as much material as Tomb Raider, I wouldn't mind a Kingdom Hearts retrospective. Fucking hell. In chronological order. Jesus Christ. If you want to watch stuff to do with Kingdom Hearts content, just watch Super Butterbuns' channel. Honestly. I love Kingdom Hearts. I've not played it, admittedly, like a lot since I completed 3. But I'm very much into that series. I'm interested to see what they do with the 4th one whenever they announce that. Really enjoy the Television series. There's a lot to say there. Even a history of. Yeah. It's kind of why I wanted to do it. I wanted to showcase, use my platform to showcase all these people that have been beavering away, making this content for free. I love the hello Mad Catter. I love the retrospective. Although the whole chickens and sauce needed exploring more. The divine sauce. Where's the divine sauce? So many chickens. There's way more chickens in that game than was necessary. I'm friends with Mistress Dove. Oh yeah, I remember her. I get all the Kingdom Hearts content I could ask for whenever we hop on for a voice call. My god, yes, I can imagine she talks emphatically about that series. Any thoughts on the Lara Croft games, like Osiris or whatever that other one was? What? They're okay, little co-op games. They're nothing. I find the spin-off games, honestly, for the most part, to be fairly unsubstantial. Like, they're fine for a few minutes and then that's it. Like, the Lara Croft Go game, I think, is one of the better ones because it does something different. And it's quite nice and chill as well, the Lara Croft Go puzzle game. And it lasts about as long as it needed to. The big 4-player co-op game or 2-player co-op game, Temple of Osiris and like Guardian of Light, whatever they're called, I can take or leave those. They're fine. I've played them with people on like multiplayer matches a few times, and I've had a good time. It's very chaotic, a bit buggy in places, but I had a good time. Nate Justy, thank you very much there for the follow. Welcome. Are your lives going to be joint on YouTube and Twitch? Do you mean my live streams? So basically, I'd say from about the latter half of last year to now, all of my live streams have been broadcast on Twitch and on YouTube. And it's also allowed me to back up and archive all of my live streams for people to catch up with on my YouTube channel. So yes, that will be a feature going forward for all of my live streams. I don't know. I did not know you could pile up the chickens like that. You can bet that's what I'll be doing on my next trip up to the geothermal valley. So I need to double check if this video is actually public. Let me do that now. But we did a whole live stream of me piling up all those chickens, and that's how I got that particular figure. But yeah, I easily could have kept going with that. It was absolutely insane. That particular part of the geothermal valley was just so easy for me to just place chickens next to the campsite, run up about a few meters to get another chicken, then come back and then just rinse and repeat because they would just keep coming. The game didn't care about not spawning them or nothing. There was nothing that was causing them to, like, my computer to chug. I didn't lose any performance, no frame rates dropped or nothing. I was kind of hoping my game would crash or something, but it's not happened at all. Let's go to my content. I'm just looking at this whilst I'm talking to you guys. Chicken. There we go. Just typing in the filter just so it'll help me. So no, okay. I don't know why it's private. So the Chicken Mountain stream is actually something that I can make public again for you all to watch, because Crystal Dynamics themselves actually showed up, and the social media manager at the time who was in charge of the account just kind of didn't know how to react. And yeah, I'm 100% here for that, making people confused. So I will do that. I will do that tomorrow. I'll make sure it's all good before I'm just thinking to myself, why did I make it private? Why is it private and not actually live? And so I'll give it a once over just in case I did something silly, and then I will make it public again for you guys to enjoy. Give it a proper thumbnail and everything. You remember that stream? Nice. How was the Richard Croft era experience? Oh, it was fun. Always is. That's all right. People were asking, someone actually asked me if I actually enjoy the Survivor era games, and I do, but I'm not in a rush to replay them. For the, like, again, Shadow of the Tomb Raider could change that attitude, but Rise of the Tomb Raider and 2013 Tomb Raider are the least played and replayed Tomb Raider games that I own, I have to say. It's one of those games where I just play through it like once in a blue moon, and then once I'm done, I'm like, yeah, it was alright. and then I just don't really talk about it or think about it afterwards. If you have them, would you upload older streams to YouTube? I think you streamed Hitman before but couldn't find it anywhere. Yeah, no, unfortunately those streams are lost to time now. Unless you've got clips of them, which are still up. The actual full live streams of those are gone, just due to Twitch's stupid limit on how long VODs can stay up for. Do we think that Legacy of Atlantis and Catalyst are struggling with development? I don't know. It's hard to say. We've not really heard much from them, but I'm hoping that Legacy of Atlantis isn't struggling. I'm hoping to hear something this year about it, somewhere maybe in the next few months, perhaps. The video has also made me hope for a Rise port for Switch 2. Yeah, I mean, if they could bring it out for Android and iOS as well, 2013, Rise of the Tomb Raider definitely has a shot at that. I'm glad that if you have the blood ties... I'm glad that you gave Blood Ties the exposure that it deserves. That bit was amazing. Yeah, easily the best part of Rise of the Tomb Raider for me. And it's interesting when researching it that the fact that it was actually developed outside of Crystal Dynamics for it. And yeah, hence why I felt it important to highlight the people that worked on it, because I feel like a lot of people say that Blood Ties is great, but they probably don't realize that it was Nyx's and not Crystal that made it. So yeah, that's why I thought, yeah, give those guys and gals a pat on the back and a thank you if you do come into contact with them. Are you guys jealous I'm playing the Richard Croft game? It's for VIPs only. Goddamn, super Richard Croft brothers. I'm fully expecting at some point some modder to basically create a Richard Croft face suit as well. That's just gonna, some twisted talented individual's gonna come up with that and send me a link, and I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry that I inspired this. I'm really sorry. I'm excited for Legacy of Atlantis and Catalyst, but I would say I would be lying if I didn't say patch 5 soured my enthusiasm a little. I'm honestly just baffled that patch 5 arrived for the remasters in the state that it did. It does suck that it broke so much of that game that was already working and absolutely fine. But I wouldn't say that it soured my anticipation of the other two, because they're made by two completely different studios. Like, one of them made Shadow Warrior, so it's like, yeah, okay, I want to see what these people cook up. And they seem like they're genuinely excited to want to work on the series. So yeah, no, I'm excited to see what Legacy of Atlantis is. I think Legacy of Atlantis would be a good yardstick to measure Catalyst against when it comes out, and we start seeing more stuff about it come out. Because then you could be like, oh, they might finally understand what they're doing, you know, rather than it being just kind of like trying to reinvent the wheel with what the Survivor trilogy was trying to do with the character. Slightly confident about that Flying Wild Hog is working on Legacy Atlantis, but I'm more concerned about Catalyst because that's the one mainly developed by Crystal, and they are hemorrhaging people right now. Have you seen the amount of people that are being let go from just all these different places, but Crystal especially? Yeah, no, like Dallas Dickinson has left, and he was the guy that was going to be like the one to fix everything, wasn't it? And he's just gone now. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the fuck's going to happen with that going forward. But yeah, no, definitely with the Legacy of Atlantis one, excited for that one. I'd say because we know more about it and what it's going to be like than Catalyst. Catalyst we just got like a teaser for, really. With Crystal having laid off right now, I'm really thrilled about the Tomb Raider games. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird time, really. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that in the next year or so that something ends up happening to Crystal. I would not be surprised if Crystal becomes yet another studio that's bought out by a bigger one like Amazon Games or something, and it's just absorbed into Amazon Games. I would not be surprised. Like, everything I hear about like modern Crystal, everything about it just seems to me like that particular studio is just a sinking ship. Do you know what I mean? It's disappointing, really, because like they've got like a really exciting time for the franchise like ahead of them, but they're losing so many people left, right, and center. It's just crazy. And what was I going to say? I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Talk amongst yourselves. Did creating the retrospective change your opinion on any of the Tomb Raider games from when you originally played them? Oh, yeah, God, yeah. Like, Angel of Darkness, for sure. Angel of Darkness was one of the most surprising ones out of all of them. I actually ended up, like, appreciating it a hell of a lot more than, like, its reputation led me to think. I'd also say that Tomb Raider 2, my opinion of that, slightly changed. Maybe. Tomb Raider 4, definitely. I was disappointed by Tomb Raider 4 in a lot of ways at the time. My first playthrough of Tomb Raider 4 was not the most fun. I had a lot of frustrations with Tomb Raider 4, Tomb Raider The Last Revelation. That's for sure. On that sad note, gotta go. Thanks so much for the QA stuff. Really interesting and cool to see the behind the scenes stuff. You're welcome. And if anyone wants to kind of like get any more sneaky peeks of that sort of thing, be sure to subscribe to my membership package, however you say it. Just become a member on my channel, and then I'll be posting some stuff on there like I used to. I'm going to try my best to put some stuff on there. We'll give you more insights and behind the scenes stuff, such as outtakes, alternate cuts of things, and behind the scenes little shots and stuff. Hoping Sophie Turner can do Lara justice. Been seeing the odd picture of her with twin pistols and 90s shades, so hoping. Yeah, we'll have to see when a trailer comes out with that. Like, the set photos and everything are all cool and all, but like, she can look shit or good in a set photo to people, but until you see it in action, all like lit up and properly framed, etc., how it would be in the actual show, I can't really sort of give any kind of judgment. I thought you were about to say membership pants. Put on those membership pants. Yeah, I'm desperately trying to remember my original train of thought to do with Crystal Dynamics. Oh, I'm sure it will come back to me at some point. We should talk about Tomb Raider 4 sometime, mate. If you want to chat, or if you've got like another episode of like PAL Keys or whatever it was that you have going on at the moment, let me know. I'm all for that shit. All for that shit. The Tomb Raider 5 meltdown. Oh god, yes. That part lived in infamy for me, because it was where I truly had lost my shit playing Red Alert for the first time in Tomb Raider Chronicles on the original PC version. I had properly lost my mind. Sorry, the cat's just down here. And was just going absolutely insane. And with all the bugs and stuff that were happening, it was just a case of now trying to navigate through this situation that I'd essentially just like soft blocked myself into. I was just angry. I was just angry at that part. I obviously like over-exaggerated some parts of my feelings for the sake of the video. But sorry, I'm just looking through this cat's fur and thinking I keep on seeing a flea running around underneath, but maybe not. It's hard to tell. But yeah. The Lincoln cameo is still the best surprise to me in the Tomb Raider 5 video. Yeah, that was a complete accident. I was just looking for a generic UK high street in order to use that people post letters into him skit. So I'm glad it was somewhere that like resonated with you, for sure. Did I ever play the Dago Shan demo Nikubas? Yeah, no, I don't actually think I did. Wouldn't mind a small live stream of playing that. Yeah, maybe I might do that someday. That could be quite cool. Yeah, something about Crystal being a sinking ship. Well, yeah, basically they're just losing so many people. Right, where the brand is starting. That's right, yes. So basically, like, their only real true money-making IP that Crystal have, as much as Legacy of Kain is a critical darling and a fan favorite, it's not the one that's going to make them the big bucks. It's not the one keeping the studio open. But Tomb Raider is, and it's the only IP that they have, really, if you think about it. So once that like comes into trouble, that they are, I think it's like their days are numbered. Which sucks for all the talented people that have been working and whatnot, if this were to happen, to have to try and find work again, which they seemingly already have been for certain departments. I don't envy that, for sure. But it's just the way the industry seems to be going at the moment. It's not a fun time to be a game developer for a AAA studio, or a big studio in general. It sucks. It's more hassle than it's worth. Be an indie game developer, that's what I say, and then you can win awards like the studio that made Expedition 33. They're not going to have enough people to fill a canteen, let alone make a game. Yeah, which does kind of suck. Because, like, let's face it, the people that make, like, the decisions that people aren't exactly happy with the series haven't been the developers themselves directly, always. It's mostly come from, like, the higher-ups. It's mostly come from, like, the management and the producers and those people that have, like, the hand on the button for everything Lara Croft. Hey, Sazula. Finally managed to catch the retrospective. Loved it. Honestly, had me laughing so much at the Richard Croft faces. Nicely done. Yeah, no, it's... Yeah. It was such a pain in the ass to keep that all up. Like, I did that shoot for all the filming in this room over 2 days. It was over a weekend, and I put up the faces, and I had to leave them there and make sure that I didn't move any of them. So when I went into filming the next day, continuity was still intact. Oh, and full disclosure, like, the day after I'd finished filming, like, no, literally like an hour or so after I'd finished filming, I started to feel really ill. And then I had the day after off because I was less sick. I was not well for a good few days. So I was able just about enough to sort of like get enough mental energy, physical energy to get all those things done, and then afterwards my body was just like, right, no, you need to stop. What are you doing, cat? This cat is... He is down here. He can be the stream. There we go. There is the cat. What? Richard Croft was mentioned? How did I miss that? It must have been very subtle. But I like the fact that people picked up on that. But do people realize like the kind of like the meaning behind having an army of Richard Croft faces in the background? It's not very subtle, so I'll be amazed if anyone didn't. Other than it just being a funny thing to do in camera. Yeah, at the moment he's using my desk as a pillow. Bless him. But no, I would love to do a retrospective on the Resident Evil games. That'd be cool. For sure. I feel that. I became ill last Tuesday, was getting better, and I had a lingering cough but disrupted my work yesterday. Turns out I had walking pneumonia. So I've been at home. What the heck is walking pneumonia? The Richard Croftification has begun. Into the Richard sphere. Is that like the manosphere, but Richard Croft? Into the Richard verse. So, to kind of really spell that out for anybody, was the Richard Croftness was... Hey, Buffy dancers. Hope you're doing okay. Let me just put... Yeah. There we go. So the whole Richard Croft stuff was basically the reason why I put all these faces invading my personal space was essentially just to play as a running gag, and also it was a commentary on the amount of times that the game like forces him into places where he shouldn't belong. And that's kind of like playing on people's kind of like the meme of him being just everywhere and that whole game being just about him. It was another layer for me to kind of add a joke that played off of that particular thing to add into the video. I had a lot of fun making it, and like I said, I've still got a whole bunch left over. Actually, let me just... How many have I got here? Inventables. Thank you for the 50 bits there, Sazula. Gonna drop a lurk, but again, nicely done on the retrospective. I'll be rewatching them over the next couple of days. Thank you. Yeah, still quite a few. I reckon there's 20 in here easily. Fucking 20 of his face. Got slight body horror spooks when recovered by Richards.
Really need a fucking Starbucks,
Yeah,
Jonah.
that's another one. And Lindsay will already know what I'm about to say here. But the inspiration for the shot of me turning to the left or my right to peel back the curtain that I've got here and having the faces actually on the other side of the glass, that was kind of inspired by something that Vanilla suggested, Finn. So yeah, that's kind of why I thought that was a great idea to basically have it so it looks like they're behind the window staring in from the outside. I like that. Oh, you've just noticed this rather stylish Sonic 3 and Knuckles hoodie. There is a bigger logo on the back, but obviously for cat-based reasons I can't stand up and turn around. Finish XY, thank you very much there for the follow. Can Richard be an emoji? I reckon we can make Richard Croft an honorary emote. I reckon I've got space on Twitch for that, and YouTube probably as well. I'll have to double check how many emotes I'm allowed on YouTube chat. But no, body horror and eldritch horror was basically the vibe that I was kind of going for a couple times with that. So I'm glad that someone picked up on that. That's good. Reminded me a lot of Silent Hill F stuff. Yeah, that was a great game. I like that. A little homage to 28 Days Later. Yes, that was what brought it up. The scene where the zombie's outside the window and he's got the deep red eyes glowing. That was kind of what brought it on. Good old Mailer. He was so happy at that bit. I bet he was. I bet he was. It's 15 minutes of fame, bless him. My favourite PS1 game is Ricardo Raider starring Richard Croft. Fantastic, Ray Mango. I was kind of expecting you to eventually have Richard face mask. Yeah, but like I said earlier, if I had a Richard face mask, I wouldn't be able to read the script. Right, guys, it's been lovely chatting. I'm going to cut it short now and leave you to it. I'm going to get some rest. Feeling tired, but it's been amazing chatting with you lot. I'm rereading everything that you all post on my channel to do with my videos. I really appreciate people who have been sharing it. If you could also have some moments to just like make a post about it somewhere to all of your Tomb Raider friends, I would also really appreciate it if you have the time. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. Any kind of engagement with it whatsoever you've been providing from here, on the video comments, on my socials, it's just been nothing short of amazing. So thank you so much. Right. We are going to be picking up with more Tomb Raider Remastered on, Thursday. So we're doing our challenge run with that, where we're basically whacking up to the hardest possible settings without any additional help. So that's been fun. So I hope you join me on that. So apart from that, I'm going to love you and leave you. This is going to be it from me and the cat, who's just down here, and from Sarah, who's back there doing her thing too. I look forward to speaking to you guys on Thursday, but in the meantime, have a great rest of your week. Take care now. Bye-bye then. Sorry, I am back. I have missed a couple things here. So, Mad Catter has super chat there for £2. My super chat notifications haven't been working tonight. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Mad Catter, for the signed Richard Croft poster. Super chat there from 180 Music UK Music. Would you mind explaining the process of making the video? I can, in a little bit. Del Frickin' Tree, thank you very much for the super chat there. Have I read my earlier super chats, nerd? I did. And also, thank you very much for the other ones too. Yeah, so I will I'll briefly go over the video making process. So, do you know what? I'll actually just do that quickly now. So, if I just pop that down here. Oh, now it's coming up. They're lagged. That's why. Not too sure why. So, my process when making a video is I essentially just got a game in here. I fire it up. I've got some screen recording software. My software of choice is a software called NVIDIA Shadowplay. And this, or NVIDIA Share, I think it's been shortened to now. And essentially I can set buttons to stop and start recording manually or do an instant replay if I just want to get a clip when I'm not recording. That then all gets saved into a big old capture folder, which has, you can see, lots of different folders with lots of different games that are automatically named and popped into here. So, for example, where is my Rise of the Tomb Raider one? Have I got one? I've got some Shadow of the Tomb Raider stuff in here for some reason. Rise of the Tomb Raider, where are you? Rise of the Tomb Raider. So when I've got a clip in here, so what I've been doing is I've been going by bit by bit by bit to help make it easier for me to be able to break stuff down and work out where I need to go to find particular parts of the game for footage. So as you can see, normally the file name will be this huge garbled nonsense where it says Rise of the Tomb Raider, a date stamp, and another bunch of information .mp4. So I renamed that to like 01 menu screen, 02 Syria 2 plus bear fight, etc, etc, etc. Once I've done that, I then essentially go into the script writing part of my video making. And this is the part that hitched me up when I was working on Rise of the Tomb Raider. As you can see here, I originally actually had a different intro. I was going to shoot a piss take of the therapist scene, but I never got round to it. And I thought, nah, I can't shoot that. It's a bit too much work. So I changed it to what you saw in the video. So here we go, 112 pages, all here, like basically separated by voiceover, me talking to cameras, me with my name, just so I can quickly identify stuff. And any parts that I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this, I'll add like a photo or like a little quote here to sort of help remind me. And then I'll just go through and go make any changes. Like the Skelly Boy thing had a little bit of a bit in the script there too. Just so it's sort of big visual reminders to help me kind of plan things. Yeah, so the Chasing Grandpa thing had a screen capture. The Divine Source thing had a meme that I mocked up and stuff. The whole joke to do with the Divine Source, me actually talking about the recipe for KFC from a wiki, that was all spelt out. Yeah, just that's essentially the time that takes the longest is to script all of this out. And then at the very bottom of these pages is some of my research or ideas, where I can always put a link to an article if I want to come back to it to get a particular piece of footage or like a particular still image or something. And so yeah, that's the scripting part. And then once that's all done, I can then, let's say, open up Premiere Pro. I have to keep it organized for my own sanity, because if it was disorganized, it would just be... I've had it before where I don't change the file names, and it's an absolute shit show to try and get stuff, to find stuff. So this is my timeline. I will briefly go through the timeline because as you can imagine, for a 2-hour and 5-minute video it ended up being in the end, there's a lot. I've just got to give it a minute for it to buffer everything. So this is the software I use for all my editing. It's Adobe Premiere Pro. I use it for all of my video editing stuff now. I used to use Final Cut Pro when I used to have a Mac. I don't anymore. And this is essentially where the main structure of everything in my videos comes from. Sorry, it's because this is such a big project file. It will take a few moments for it to just kind of give you a proper view and let me kind of like show you all the source files and stuff. Is 180 UK music actually still here? The person that wanted me to go through this. I hope they are. If not, they can watch this bit back. Yeah, so this is just going to take a few moments, but I can just quickly scroll through this. Can't quite zoom out just yet. Yeah, so if I zoom fully out, this is what my timeline looks like in its entirety. Source files. Divine source files. I've got media for this project saved all over my machine. I've basically got a template that I have on my C drive. So if I go onto my main drive and go into my videos folder, I have got a video project template folder, which is full of blank folders. And essentially I just make a copy of this and then just rename the top folder to whatever video I'm working on. And then audio, music, sound effects, voiceover, it's all dropped into its own little folders. Media like clips, footage, and camera work, that all gets put into its own folders. Proxy media I don't really use anymore. Stills like art and screenshots, they go into their own thing too. Yeah, it's very much a well-organized and oiled machine, so to speak. Right, here we go. So yeah, this is where I would go in. I've got all these folders here with everything, like the live action stuff. That was actually filmed on my phone. It's like a little pickup shot there. But then I would just click on this, find a particular clip that I would want, and then I would go to a point in the video, and then I would just click that, and then drag that onto my timeline. And essentially it'd just be a case of dragging that, resizing it, cutting it down, adjusting the audio levels to be louder or softer, adding effects on top of that. This is what, like, this is where I have the most fun, because I can basically just go in here and I can just basically either stick rigidly to my script that I've recorded in my voiceover recording. Oh yeah, no, once I've done the script, I record the voiceover, and then I can basically just drop in this audio file and then scrub through it, and then...
He was destined for greatness.
Yeah. And just play about with that, add some stuff on the fly. There was actually a bunch of stuff that I actually needed to re-record and add in afterwards, so I could just basically go into the same project file and just re-record that. And then it was just a case of just going through that, exporting it, uploading it to YouTube. Job's a good one. It's a very brief explanation about my video making process. But if anyone is interested in like wanting a bit of a more slower paced like video about how a video was made, I'd be more than happy to do that at some point for you guys. Anyone who's a channel member, of course. I'd be happy to add that as extra bonus content for you all to enjoy. But yes, no, for definite now, I hope that answers your request there, UK Music. And now I'm for realsies gonna be going now. So I wish everyone a fantastic rest of your week, and I will see you on Thursday. Take care now. Bye-bye then. Bye.